Hello, I'm Tori, and today we're going to do a quick grounding practice. So we're going to start off sitting with our legs crisscross applesauce, just like this. If it's more comfortable, you could put a block underneath your hips. And we're just going to begin by closing down the eyes. The hands can be on the knees, palms facing down. Maybe you'd like to have your palms facing up. Maybe you'd like to have your hands sit right in the middle, whatever's most comfortable for you. Just begin to deepen the breath. As you inhale, feel your spine from your tailbone start to grow nice and long. Imagine someone's pulling a string from the top of your head up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, keep that length, but sink down into those sit bones, really feeling grounded through your bottom. Inhale, lengthening. Nice open, wide chest, opening that heart. And exhale, grounding through those sit bones. Begin to lengthen the breath now. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Our intention today is to ground yourself. Maybe that just means making connections with the earth. Or maybe that means connecting back with yourself. A few more breaths here, just centering yourself. And on the next inhale, we'll bring the arms up above the head and drop the shoulders down. Slightly tucking that chin, but still growing tall through the top of the head. And then we'll take a twist, bringing the right hand to the left knee, the left hand behind. Grounding down through those fingertips, propping your heart open, and then moving yourself towards that left knee. Taking a nice twist there. The gaze can be soft or the eyes can be closed. Still growing long on the inhale, grounding on the exhale. Next breath, we'll bring those arms up above the head. And then exhale, twist to the other side. Right fingertips, this time propping yourself up nice and tall. Beautiful breath. Keeping yourself nice and even. We'll inhale, come back to center. And exhale, we'll bring the hands behind us and the feet out from underneath us. And then we'll begin to lift up one foot and then the other. You can keep the hands behind to stay nice and grounded if that's what you would like. Or feel free to reach out one hand and then the other, coming into boat pose. Once again, grounding through those sit bones, opening up the chest and the heart. You can flex the toes towards the face. Inhale, growing tall through that spine, opening the chest. Exhale, feeling strong through that core, feeling strong through your grounded sit bones. We'll take 3 more breaths here. Nice inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose, 2 more. And on this exhale, we'll slowly lower down. You can use your hands to support you here. We'll keep the knees bended, the soles of the feet on the mat. We'll inhale through the nose. And then exhale, we'll lift those hips up, coming into bridge pose. Keeping that head nice and steady and centered. Imagine you're squeezing a block between those knees, keeping the knees in line with the hips. Imagine you're releasing the glutes here, trying to engage those hamstrings instead, bringing the pressure onto your shoulder blades. And on your next exhale, we'll lower down 1 vertebrae at a time. Feel free to windshield wiper the legs, keeping those knees nice and bent, maybe releasing any tension in that lower back. We'll come into another bridge pose, centering those knees. Inhale, reaching the hips up. Exhale, hold. Now make your toes nice and wide. We have a tendency to grip really hard with those toes. Imagine you're pressing evenly through each part of the foot, from the big toe all the way back to the heel. If you'd like, you can take your hands, make a clasp underneath your bum, tuck the shoulder blades slightly more under, and reach that fist back towards the back of the legs. Inhale, lift the hips up. Exhale, ground down through those feet this time, creating space through that lower back. 1 more breath, grounding down through those feet. Beautiful. And then release slowly all the way down to the ground. This time we'll bring the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a nice big hug. You can stay stationary here, or feel free to rock side to side. Staying in touch with that breath, just noticing all the different places where your body is making contact with the earth. From here, we'll take our peace fingers and reach for our big toes, and we'll come into a stationary happy baby. So as we sit here in happy baby, bring that attention to that tailbone. Want the knees coming in towards the armpits, the soles of the feet pressing up towards the sky, and you're pulling that tailbone down towards the mat. Just take a scan of your backside body. Notice all the different places your body is making contact with your mat. Be content sitting here in the silent stillness, except for my really loud neighbor. And now bring slow movements. Maybe straighten one leg and then the other. Noticing how when you move your body, how does your contact with the earth change? Oftentimes in life, we move really, really quickly, going from one activity to the next. And we maybe don't take time to notice how our bodies and our minds might be changing through all those little movements. So be deliberate in your practice and in your movement, slow and subtle. We'll bring the knees in towards the chest, release the feet. Then we'll release one leg towards the sky and then the other, coming into legs up the wall pose. Again, taking notice of how your body might be. Oftentimes we have a nice little gap in our lower back here, between our lower back and the earth. Try and press that down as we bring our feet up towards the sky. Nice deep inhales and exhales. And we'll bring the arms up above the head, and then reach the arms up towards the feet, and slowly begin to lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Again, noticing how your body is changing as you reach those fingertips towards the toes. One more inhale, really reaching up, and then exhale, we'll lower down, bring the feet down. We'll bring the feet out wide and then the knees into touch. You can keep the hands up above the head or bring them down by the hips, your choice. Noticing now how perhaps the lower back is slightly lifted up off the ground. Just noticing how your body is. We'll heel toe the feet back in together. We'll make a little table with our legs so that our shins are parallel to the mat. Lifting up those knees, feet are lifted. And we'll bring the left foot across the right knee, making a figure four. So here we are in sort of a figure four on our backs, or a pigeon pose on our backs. We'll take the hands, reach underneath, below the knee, and then pull it in towards our chest, keeping both feet flexed. Noticing that space we're creating in that left hip, but also, once again, noticing where we're grounded in this pose. As I pull myself closer, I feel that my left shoulder is slightly more lifted than my right, and that's totally okay. Maybe you want to try and even that out a little bit. Maybe you still want to bring yourself forward with that left shoulder. Do what feels right for your body. And we'll release that left leg. We'll come back out to that table with the knees, and we'll bring the right foot on top of the left knee. And then reach with the hands underneath, interlacing below that left knee and pulling yourself in. Maybe using that right elbow to push that right knee further out. Once again, noticing how your back is making contact with the earth, how your head is making contact with the earth. Maybe noticing the differences between your left and your right hip. Just making those gentle observations. Even breathing. If this is a really intense stretch for you, maybe notice where you're holding tension and release that with every exhale. We'll take one more breath. And exhale, we'll release. Bring the knees in towards the chest. And bring the legs out wide, out long. And we'll begin to sit ourselves up nice and tall here. Grounding down through those sit bones. Sitting up, open chest, straight back. Hands can be down on the ground beside you. And then begin to flex the toes towards your feet. We're going to keep all of our legs grounded down as best we can here. Gaze coming forward. It can stay as soft as you would like. But we're engaging the legs, lifting those kneecaps, pressing the legs into the mat. Beautiful. Feeling that strength in the core, strength in the back and the belly. Feeling where you're making contact. So I have a little gap underneath my knees, and I have a little bit of contact underneath my thighs and my shins and at my heels. If it's available to you and you would like a little bit more of a challenge here, you can begin to lift those heels up off the ground, really pressing those legs into your mat. Beautiful. Inhaling through the nose, growing tall, exhaling keeping that length, keeping that groundedness, maintaining connection with your mat, with your breath, and with your practice. One more breath. We'll inhale, bring the arms up overhead, and exhale, we'll lower down one vertebrae at a time. You can let the legs flap out wide here. Taking a moment to notice your breath. And we'll bring the knees back in towards the chest. And feel free to rock and roll here. Slowly up and down the spine. Maybe your feet come back overhead. Maybe they come and touch the front of the mat. And we'll eventually rock and roll ourselves so that we come up to Malasana, a nice little yogi squat here, grounding down through the feet now. Pushing those elbows nice and wide into the knees. Grounding down through those heels, opening up through that chest. I tend to sit back really heavily on my heels here. So I know that eventually I'd love to open myself up a bit more through my hips so I can have even pressure through all of my feet. From here, we'll bring our hands to the ground. Grounding down, using our pressure forward into those fingertips. We're gonna lift the hips up. We're gonna keep the fingers on the ground. So feel free to bend those knees as much as you need to. Pressing ourselves down. And then heel toe the feet so that they're about 2 fist width apart. We'll inhale, halfway lift. We're gonna stay in this halfway lift, really grounding down through those toes. So nice wide toes here, growing long through the spine and the top of the head. The hands can come to the hips, bringing those shoulder blades back. Or if you'd like an extra challenge, reach out. If you have a chair or a wall nearby, this is a great place to reach out and maybe challenge your balance. Maybe rest those hands, make a nice flat back. Again, trying to bring that weight forward, hips on top of heels. And then exhale, we'll fold down. We'll take ragdoll, interlacing opposite hands with opposite elbows, rocking side to side. Noticing how you rock to the right, your weight comes to the right, how when you rock to the left, your weight comes to the left. Noticing where it falls in that foot. Is it the outside of the foot, the inside of the foot? Do you like to sit on your heels, your toes? Just taking notice of where that might be for you. We'll come back to center and stillness. Centrally grounding ourselves, we'll drop the hands and then we'll slowly begin to rise. Hands can trace the legs, coming up to a mountain pose. Bringing the shoulders up, back, and then down. Coming to standing in our mountain pose, gaze can be soft. We'll lift up all the toes, and then we'll place them down one at a time. Grounding down through the whole foot, opening up that chest. We'll inhale, reach the arms up, extended mountain pose. And exhale, we'll sink the heels back, hips back, weight into the heels, reaching the arms up, coming into chair pose. Keeping a nice straight line from the knees to the hips. We don't want the knees falling over or going out. We want to stay nice and centered here. Once again, noticing where that weight might be. Maybe looking down, checking to see where your knees are and pulling them back so you can see the tips of your toes. then from here, we'll begin to sink down into a low squat using your hands when you need to. And we'll come back to sit on our bottoms. Beautiful. Sitting up nice and tall here, we'll bring the hands out. And then we'll again lower onto our backs ever so slowly. We'll reach the legs up into the air, pressing that back fully down into the mat, making full contact. Then we'll bring the right leg down to the mat and pull the left leg over, teeing out the arms, coming into a supine twist. So people often feel this in their hips, but it's more about getting a gentle twist through the back, keeping both shoulders firmly planted down. While we're here in the supine twist, with our gaze off to the left, just take note of where your body's making contact with the ground. From your right foot, all the way up the leg, through your hips, your torso and your upper back, your hands, your arms, and your head. Notice those places where you're making that connection. Again, the gaze can be soft, and the eyes can be closed. Release any tension in the jaw or the shoulders. And we'll come back to center, bringing the knees in towards the chest. And then straightening the legs out towards the sky, dropping the left leg down and bringing the right leg over. Gaze towards the right side. Once again, just taking that scan, maybe starting from the top of the head this time. Down towards the shoulders, out through the arms, noticing where the backs of the palms meet the earth. Down through the torso and the hip. Down the right leg, and then the left, all the way down to the left foot. Doing your best, just let yourself melt into the mat here. Melt into those points of connection. Becoming one with your space. Bring the knees back into center. Give yourself a nice big hug. Bring the forehead up to meet the knees. One last moment of connection here. And then we'll release everything down into Shavasana. Legs fall out wide, feet flop open, palms facing up, chest open. Releasing tension. As you come through a general scan of your body, just noticing those places of contact, those places of connection, feeling firmly grounded there. Start to bring attention back to those places. Maybe rotate the wrists and the ankles. We'll bring the knees in and bend them, and then falling onto your favorite side, into a fetal position. Once again, feeling where you're grounded here. We'll push ourselves up into a seated pose, just like where we started class, doing your best to keep your attention turned inward. We'll bring the shoulders up towards the ears, back and down. Let's do that 2 more times. And we'll begin to roll the head to the left, down towards the center, and back towards the right. Once again, being deliberate with that movement. Rotating to the other direction, towards the right, towards the chest, the left, and then back. Sitting up nice and tall still. Bringing the head back to center. Take one inhale together through the nose. Exhale everything out through the mouth. Brings the hands to heart center. It's been a pleasure to lead you through this little bit of practice today. I hope you can carry this feeling of groundedness and centeredness through the rest of your day. The light in me and the light